I'm Ashton, and this is Libby, and we're Badger State Blades. Welcome to the International Association of Woodcarvers.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the International Association of Woodcarvers. Today is the 28th of October, a little bit after 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And thank you again for coming in on Saturday afternoon, taking time out this beautiful fall weather to come in and meet with us today. Today on our meeting, we've got Ashton Brown that's coming to us. She's a new knife maker from up in Wisconsin. The name of her company is Badger State Blades, and I'm excited to have her on today. She's going to come in and talk a little bit about her tools, kind of what it takes to make those, talk about some other things that she has coming up. I think she's even going to talk a little bit about how she repairs a knife if for some reason you break a tip off or something like that. So in a few minutes, we'll go ahead and turn it over to her. But for now, I want to let you know a little bit about what's coming on with us in the coming weeks. On the 4th of November, which is next Saturday, I will be down in Alabama at the Mid-South Woodcarving Show. So I'm going to broadcast live from down there, talk a little bit about their show, take you through what they're doing down there. I'll be doing a demonstration down there on that Friday, next Friday. If anybody's in the area and wants to come by, make sure you stop by and say hello. But I'll broadcast live Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In November, because it's Thanksgiving, I've got a couple of things that I have scheduled that I'm not going to be available to do meetings. So the one on the 4th will be the only one that we have in November. We'll pick up in December and have meetings as normal, and then roll right into January. In December, Timmy Yusuf is coming on December the 2nd. And then some people have encouraged me, I guess, I don't know if that's the word, to come on and do a demonstration. So I have committed myself to do a demonstration on the 9th of December. So make note, make plans to do that. I told Dave, and way back 4 years ago when we started this, I didn't want these meetings to be about me. I wanted them to be about sharing wood carving and making sure that we're able to keep wood carving as a conversation, I guess, during the time when we weren't able to get together, and that was when COVID started. So I haven't done any demonstrations and stuff, but December the 9th, put it on your calendar, plan on being here. I'll do a demonstration, work through a full project there, and hopefully that'll turn out well. So also December, we'll probably schedule another meeting the next weekend after that, and then we'll be off for Christmas until January. So there'll be 3 meetings in December. And then we'll start over in January and try to get a full schedule starting in January. Don't forget about the workshops that are available out there on Woodcarving Academy. Light the Way Santa by Del Green. That's a class that's going to be starting on December the 2nd. If you're interested in that class, reach out to Del Green. Make sure you get signed up for that. Find out the materials that you need. Janet Cordell is going to be doing a class in January or February on carving a horse head. So if you're interested in that class, contact Janet Cordell and get signed up. I'm sure there'll be some other workshops that are coming up as we receive information on those. I'll try to share those with you all, not only on these meetings, but also on social media so that you're aware of them. Make sure you contact Dwayne Gosnell if you're interested in doing his Whittle Wednesdays. I think he's still doing classes twice a month on Wednesday evenings. So if you're interested in those, go to dgosnellwoodcarving.com and check out his class schedule, or reach out to him and try to get signed up there. Having said all that, again today, I'm happy to have Ashton Brown on. She's coming to us from Wisconsin. Some of you all have seen her knives. She makes Badger State Blades. Here's one of hers that I have that I had her make special for me. She's going to talk about the process that she goes through to make these. And I'm excited to have you on today. So Ashton, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, and thank you for joining us.
All right. Hey guys, how are you doing? I think we're going to start with how I got started. I got started carving 22 years ago. My grandfather, Greg Wirtz, put a carving knife in my hand when I was 12. We were having a wood carving show, and I was in our local newspaper. I still have the knife in the photo. It's nothing super fancy, just a basic bench knife. Basically, I just wanted to say that you don't have to have fancy tools to be a wood carver. It's all about what you like, what you can afford, what you can get your hands on. When my grandpa had mentioned that it was beginning to get difficult to get tools, knives, and whatnot, I decided that this sounded like something that was fun. We reached out to a good friend of ours, Denny Neubauer, who has graciously taught me how to make knives and tools. In August of last year, 2022, I spent a weekend at Denny's house making a few knives. This is the product of that weekend. He had sent me home and said, "Get to it, girl." We were cutting steel out of sticks with a grinder. So all of the blade shapes and lengths varied a lot. There are a few out there. If you had a knife from me that you bought in 2022, it was hand cut, hand heat treated, tempered, everything by hand. Since then, I partnered with a company in Wisconsin that uses a water jet to cut sheets of 01 tool steel for me. So when I get my steel, they all, I don't, it's kind of shiny, sorry guys, but I work with the water jet place so that all the blades are the same shape. So there's no variation there. They cut all the different sizes for me. Once we get those, we put a rough grind on them to sort of get that bevel on there before they get hardened and heat treated. Once that happens, I have to, I do harden and temper everything by hand. So I do forge everything. I'm not putting a steel on an anvil or anything, but I do have to stand in front of that hot forge. Once I got a little off track, sorry guys. When I was cutting out of sticks of steel, I had the first show I did was in September of 2022 in Janesville. And then we did a show in Denmark, Wisconsin. And those were the two shows I did in 2022. At the beginning of this year, in March, I was invited to John Engler's carving seminar in Missouri for a week. I went there and sharpened and sold knives. And since then it's just been full steam ahead. When I first started, I was still working a full-time job and have a 2-year-old that keeps me pretty busy. I ended up having to quit my full-time job. I lost childcare, so I quit my job and am just doing this knife thing full-time. So just making the dream happen here. That's the start isn't too terribly complicated. It's just been full steam ahead since the idea was presented to me. So I guess back to assembly here. Once we get the rough grind on the blade and I get the blade to the forge, this is what it looks like. You got to heat it up cherry red, quench it in oil, and then it sits in some sand to cool down for a while. From there, steel goes into a tempering oven, and this is what we're left with. All of my steel is 01 tool steel. It is all between a 58 and 59 Rockwell hardness. So my handles are a two-piece design. So we've got the two scales. We run a router groove in here to accept the blade. We also poke some holes in here to help that glue soak in and work like a lock to hold that handle together, since we don't use pins. And if you can see too, there's a hole in the tang of the blade to help that glue work like a lock on the blade as well. Once we assemble the knife, glue it together, this is what we're left with. I run it through a bandsaw then and cut it down to shape. We do have 3 different handle shapes. This is the duck butt. We do also have the signature straight handle is very similar to a Denny, if anybody's familiar with Denny tools. And then we also have the fishtail handle that's just tapered, a little bit fatter back here and slimmer up here. So once we cut it down on the bandsaw, we've got to shape it, put the chamfers in the edges here, which is my lovely assistant Libby's job to shape all the handles. So if you've gotten a handle or a knife in the last couple of months, it's been worked on by Libby. So then this is what we're left with. You know, you can kind of see the edges trimmed down here and shaped. Once that happens, I've got a fancy branding iron that we heat up with a torch and hand brand all of the knives. So they're not, everything we make there's never going to be 2 that are identical, because I might shake a little when we put the brand on, so it's not centered. You know, they're all just a little bit different. From the brand, we use an oil-based top coat made by General Finishes. Knives get 2 coats. This is what they look like as a finished product. This one is cedar. That's assembly. It does take probably about a week to work one knife through the system. You know, we heat treat and temper on one day. The glue takes 24 hours to dry. The coats of finish each take 24 hours to dry. So then it takes another day to sharpen it, I guess. So it does take about a week to get a knife through production. Currently, we're turning orders out within 4 to 6 weeks, just with the wait list backlog that we're working through. I guess we do have 9 different knife blades. I started with just like 2 or 3, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4, super simple things. So now we have our detail line. In the detail line, the blades are a 1/4 inch wide at the thickest parts here. And I've got an 1.5 inch upsweep, standard 1.5 inch, and then this is a 1 inch detail blade. We've got 4, I'll call them bench style blades that are a 1/2 inch wide at the widest part. We've got 2 inch, 1 3/4 inch, 1.5 inch, and a 1 inch. And we also have brought out 2 chip carving knives. We've got the 1 inch and then a 3/4 inch chip carving blade, as well as the 3 handle shapes that I showed before: the duck butt, the signature, and the fishtail. We also have this for the chip carving knife as well. So it's got some nice finger grooves in there to get in there with your chip carving. I guess one thing I did want to show some people, it's one thing that we do seem to hear often when we're out at shows sharpening knives for people, is tips break. You know, you get that fine tip on there and you're picking out some eye pieces or a nose, and that tip breaks off. And unfortunately, it is always going to be the weakest part of the knife. So I just, this one, I don't know if you guys can see that too well, but this is flat right here. I took it to the sander and took the tip off. So I just wanted to show how to retip a knife with something super simple. I think everybody probably has a stone. I just picked this up at Harbor Freight for $3. And all you really have to do is put the backside of the blade on the stone, and you're going to pull and rock at the same time to the tip of the knife to recreate that tip shape. I think it's also something that over time you end up getting some of the same looking tools in your toolbox. And you might want to, you know, have a slimmer knife. You want to change the profile of the blade. This is an easy way to do it. I would recommend not using the same stones that you use to sharpen with, because this will potentially carve grooves in the stone. So it won't be a nice flat surface when you sharpen. So I was going to do this off camera. I did one the other day. It took about 5 minutes. So I was just going to see if anybody had any questions while I was doing this, and show you what it looks like afterwards. Or
Ashton, there is one question in the chat I thought I would throw out there. Somebody wanted to know if they wanted to make their own knife, but use one of your blades. Do you sell blades just individually? And
Yes,
how would they go about getting those?
We do sell just pre-sharpened blades. They're $12 a piece. Anybody that wants to get a hold of me can jump on my website, badgerstateblades.com, and send an inquiry. Also, social media, Facebook, Instagram works as well. I can give Blake my phone number too, that works. And since we mentioned the website, I do have somebody working on it diligently. It should be up within the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, the gentleman I have working on it also works full time. So unfortunately, my site kind of went on the back burner, but. So I'm just gonna lay the knife here on the spine and pull back towards me and rock it while I'm doing it, okay? I guess the other thing when you're doing this, be sure maybe wear a glove or a finger protector. You don't want to slip and cut on the blade, because you're gonna have your finger right by the sharp part. So.
Ashton, do you recommend a certain compound when you strop? Is there any certain compound you recommend with your blade?
No, not really. It's whatever you have is good. When I don't strap, I use power. I use a black compound on a quilted denim wheel to deburr the knives, and then I use a quilted cotton and then a loose cotton wheel when I polish and buff the knives. So on the first one, the denim wheel gets black compound, and then on the cotton, I use white.
Thanks.
Are you using a Burke style equipment to sharpen and polish and so on?
No, I actually found it's a 2x28 belt sander. And I got it off of Amazon. It runs quite fast compared to the Burke system. I have used the Burke system. Our local carving club has one for club members to use. But time is money. My sharpener runs really fast. I can turn the camera here in a few minutes and show you guys the shop setup and my equipment a little bit here. Some of you might be looking at my Christmas tree back here thinking, hey, it's October. What is going on with that? We are trying to do a Christmas ornament exchange this year. So the deal is if you send me a handmade ornament, I will send you one back. We had Badger State Blades ornaments made this year. A friend of mine has a laser cutter, and maybe I need to turn my light off, Dave. Was that much better? There we go.
Yeah, that's good.
So it just has the year on there, Badger State Blades and Merry Christmas. I just thought it would be a nice kind of community thing. I know carvers have a thing for carving ornaments, so.
Ashton, I got a question. Would you ever consider doing custom blades? I've got my favorite detail knife is only a 1/2 inch blade by like just barely 1/8 of an inch. And I've always been wondered, you know, if I'd break that, if I could replace it. I've never seen one for sale that small.
I have had requests like that for specialty stuff. I would like to say yes. I'm just trying to picture sharpening that in my head, and I'm not confident yet that that small of a blade would hold up to my sharpener. I might have to that might have to be approached a different way than what I already do.
That makes sense. I'm probably going to have to do my own, and it's going to be pretty poor quality.
So as you're rounding that that knife, the spine of that, do you worry about rounding it over so it doesn't dig into the person's finger if they put their finger on the end of it? In
Yeah.
other words, on the spine, do you round it here?
Yep. Actually, when I sharpen, I do that too. But I for this with the retip, I would a little bit as well. You can just kind of it's hard to show on the stone, but you can lay the spine on and just kind of go on the side or kind of pull back towards you to round that side off. And when I sharpen, I do that too on the sandpaper. I just kind of hold the spine on there and just kind of swish the edge off so it's not sharp.
Gotcha.
That guy that had a question about the small detail blade, Drake makes a detail blade about that size. You might want to get a hold of them.
Good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now we've got, well, I could keep going a little bit, but you can see it's not so flat on the end anymore. You basically are just trying to connect whatever broke on this side to the sharp part again. Most of the time it's only, you know, maybe an 1/8 inch break, just a little bit. Doesn't take long at all.
Ashton, I have a question for you. Do you find time to still carve?
Actually, I do. I took a class with John Overby this year, and I took a class with Floyd Radigan, but that's about the only time I do get to carve.
Well, that's
with
awesome.
having the 2-year-old, that plays a part in it as well. You know, like I said, when I started carving when I was 12, life was a little bit more simple.
Yeah.
I took a hiatus from that to go to tech school. Before I was going to be a knife maker, I was going to be a big mechanic. So I went to tech school to be a mechanic. I worked in automotive industry for about 10 years. Got married, had a baby. You know, life gets in the way.
I understand. That's awesome. Thanks.
So I think I would call that good. Back to nice and pointy. Since I have them here, and now you can't see them either again. I did do a American kind of patriotic handles this year, with a portion of the sales going to my local VFW. That is still going on until November 11th. So if anybody is interested in some special red, white, and blue knives to help support the VFW, you can email me, call me, get a hold of me on social media before that's over. I just wanted to do a limited run on those this time. We might bring them back next year.
Can people, Ashton, can people request a custom paint scheme on the handles if they want to do that?
Yes, I do work with lots of different types of wood, but I thought I had gotten some poplar from a friend of mine and made a knife with it, and it was really boring. It's if you're familiar with poplar, it's kind of like basswood. There's not much grain. It's light. There's not much character to it. So I actually found this wood stain called unicorn spit, and I actually Libby painted these. We can do. I have got every color of the rainbow to make some different designs with. So you can just pick a color you like or a color scheme you like. We can dye them anyway, add some cool little personalization. She's got a cloud and a sun on this one. But of course we had to do some Halloween ones because October is the best. I also had a lady not too long ago reach out and ask if I could make a 3-inch long handle. She had small hands and feels bad. Most handles are probably about 5 inches long. And she said it's just too long for her hands. So she would take them and cut the end off to make them short for her, but she hated cutting off the maker's mark on them. So she requested a 3-inch handle, and I made that for her, and she loves that thing. Her name is Nancy, and she posts on social media quite a bit, her carvings. So you can do that kind of thing. As far as the other woods I use besides the poplar, I usually have box elder in stock, walnut, cherry, cedar. Sometimes we get some ash, bird's eye maple, hickory, purple heart. We have, and the fan favorite, I think, is this spalted maple. I can hardly keep this on the shelf, and you can't buy it. You just have to find it. Actually, my husband is a mechanic, and his boss burns wood at the shop. And my husband brought me a couple firewood logs of spalted maple. He was throwing it in the fire and said, "Oh my gosh, you can't burn this. It's beautiful." So he brought me some spalted maple as a gift.
Hey, so there's another question in the chat, and we talked a little bit about it on the pre-meeting meeting that we had. Are you considering expanding to gouges?
Yes. It's been a slow process with the gouges. I had hoped to have them out by now, but every time I feel like I can sit down and work on them, I get a bunch of knife orders, which is great. But it's slowing down the gouge process. I do have some samples here. When I do release them, we'll be starting with 1/2-inch wide tools. I'll be starting with the 3, 5, and 7 sweeps in a couple of different handle lengths. I'll probably do like a standard length like this. I think is a 5-inch, similar to the knife, and then we'll do a shorter one like a palm tool style. The gouges are done about the same way as the knives, with the heat treating and tempering assembly. The only difference is they don't get a rough grind. Learning how, I was told, actually, Denny told me, he starts people making knives because they're harder to make than gouges. You know, a gouge is only sharp on the one side, a knife is sharp on both sides. You got to make sure it's straight. He said knives were the hardest thing. So that's why he starts people with knives. And if they can make knives, well, then maybe they can make gouges too. So that's why we started with the knives. I know people are dying for tools. I keep getting requests for soft V's too. So Blake's nodding. Yep. Well, hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have some out on the market. We do have a few distributors where you can buy our knives from that would also have gouges once those come out too. We work with the Whittling Shack in Minnesota, Bigfoot Carving Tools in Arkansas, Mountain Wood Carvers in Colorado, Stetlander Wood Carving in Ohio, Chipping Away in Ontario, Canada. And I am going to be sending Treeline USA their first order in a week or two here. You can also, there's a few instructors that carry my knives as well. So John Engler, Floyd Radigan, and a few others that you can sometimes find them with when they're out teaching. So if anybody aside from ordering direct from me can order a knife from them as well. Last I heard, most of them were stocked up on knives. So the distributors are going to carry maple and oak handles. I try to keep something just for the distributors. So I do not sell maple and oak for me. You have to get a fancier wood than that for me. Let's see, as also with the Ornament Exchange, I think most people are familiar with the Woodcarving Illustrated. I'm not sure if a lot of you have seen the Santa carving carve off. We are donating 3 knives to one of the winners. One of our we've got a set of 3. I believe it's a 1-inch detail blade, an 1.5-inch blade, and then a 2-inch blade made out of Claro walnut. So make sure to submit your Santa carvings to Woodcarving Illustrated. And I'm not really sure what else you guys want to know.
Hey, if somebody wants to participate in the Ornament Exchange, do they just need to mail it to you? Where do they need to send that?
Yep, the ornament can be sent to me, mailed to me, and then I will send an ornament back to the address on the return label. To get my address, I can give it to you, Blake. If anybody has questions, they could maybe ask you, or again, you can send me an email or give me a call or find me on social media.
Yeah, if you'll just share it with me, I'll also put it out, link it so that people can get a hold of you.
Okay, sounds good.
So the gouges,
Ashton,
you
what
were
kind
talking
of-
about the gouges. Sorry, you were talking about the gouges a little bit. You said that somebody had some already or not?
I had sent some samples out to Mountain, got some samples, Chipping Away, and Treeline got some samples. So hopefully we'll be able to get rolling on those real soon.
Nice.
Get them out, hopefully for Christmas.
And somebody's asking if you need
Ashton, I was
return
gonna ask-
postage on the Ornament Exchange.
Nope, I will cover postage back to whomever sends ornament.
Nice. Did somebody else have a question? I'm sorry, I was probably talking over.
Ashton, I was going to ask you, what kind of turnaround time after an order is placed for your knives?
Lately it's been about 4 to 6 weeks. Just with
Okay.
the distributor orders I've been working on, we're trying to get through them as fast as we can. But all depends on, if if the wood you ordered I have in stock or not, or if I have to order it, that adds time as well. I do usually have a good supply of the different woods and the blades. But if you do happen to order one that I'm out of, I've got to order it. And then, you know, that plays a part in the time as well.
Understandable. Thanks.
Thanks.
Ashton, I noticed on your website, you've got the get in touch button. Is
Yep.
that a good way for everybody to contact with you?
Yep. Yep. That'll send me an email. I guess one other thing, since we're talking about emails, if you have contacted in the past, you are talking to me. It's just the two of us here. You're looking at it. We're here every day, sanding, grinding, trying to respond to emails and phone calls, and people have been great. You know, when I started, I did not expect this kind of reaction so fast. Within the first couple of months, you know, I started a Facebook page, and at first it was my friends and family following me, which is great support. But then it just started to grow, and all these people started messaging me. I started getting international messages. I couldn't believe it. At first I thought it was a scam, but it was not. So this has grown beyond my wildest dreams already in just a year. We're always open to suggestions, comments, concerns, any kind of feedback. The gentleman that asked about the smaller detail blade, you know, that's how we develop new stuff. That's how I know what you guys are looking for. So if you just have an idea of something, or, you know, would you ever produce something like this? You know, that's helpful to me too, to know which way to go.
What other questions do we have from the group? Anybody else have anything for Ashton today? So tell us again, Ashton, if somebody wanted to come and actually buy a knife directly from you, what shows are you going to be at? Are you going to be personally at any shows?
Yep. Tomorrow we will actually be in DeForest, Wisconsin for a show. Next Sunday we'll be in Wapaka, Wisconsin, November 5th. And in March, we'll be going back to the Ozark seminar in Springfield. That's a week. I don't have the exact dates, but it is March. I believe it's the same week as St. Patrick's Day. And then also in June, the Affiliated Woodcarvers Congress in Iowa. It's a show and seminar. So hopefully we'll be there with a table set up. If not, I'll just be there in person to be supportive. So
nice.
It's a great opportunity to come see some stuff, take a class. I believe Ryan Olson is going to be a judge at the AWC this year and teaching as well. Carol Levy as well. Vic Hood, John Engler, to name a few. So big names.
Where in Wisconsin are you located?
We are in Wisconsin Rapids, pretty much right in the middle, right in the middle of the state.
Yep.
And somebody wanted you to introduce your helper again. They may not have caught it at the beginning.
This is my cousin Libby. She also started carving probably when she was about 12.
I think it was before that.
Yeah.
I was raised painting wooden eggs with water, so
Yeah.
he couldn't wait to get me started.
Yeah, I think Grandpa started carving in the mid 80s, I believe. He used to be an electrician at the paper mill, and he would bring a rough out or carving with him in his lunchbox, and they called him Woody at work. And so all of us grandkids grew up watching Grandpa carve at the kitchen table. We couldn't wait to get started. So
The girls inherited it. The guys didn't really have much interest in it.
Yeah, and it definitely skipped a generation because our parents are not interested in picking up a knife.
And your Facebook address, is it just Badger State Blades? Is that the way they can find you on Facebook?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, I do want to say this. Ashton took time out of her birthday today to come and present for us. So anybody and everybody who gets the opportunity, wish her a happy birthday. Thank you for taking time out to meet with us on your birthday. Happy birthday to you. I just want to say, and I told her this before the meeting, it means a lot, I think, to carvers when they get a tool and they know that, you know, they spent the time tempering the blade and heat treating the blade and, you know, doing all the things that they do. And it does take a lot of time to be able to do that. So I commend you for that. It's nice to know that there's new tool makers and knife makers coming into the wood carving business or industry. It's good to know that that's going to be carried on for years and years. You're learning from a great tool maker. If anybody has ever gotten a tool from Denny Neubauer, they're great tools. And if you see any of those, you might want to pick them up and hold on to them because there's not many out there. So just want to say thank you again for coming on. Look forward to using your tools. Like I said, I have this one here that you made special for me, and I appreciate it. It's one of my favorite knives. And if you don't have one of her knives, make sure you try to go out and get one of those and try it out. You'll be pleased that you did. So having said all that, happy birthday. Thank you all for joining us today with the International Association of Woodcarvers. Hey.
I forgot to show everybody the shop.
Yeah, we didn't.
Oh, I was getting ready to finish. Yeah, you go ahead.
Well, since you said all that, let's turn this computer
around.
I
haven't said all that. Show us your shop.
Oh, yeah. So this is our forge, and that is our press. That's where we're going to be bending gouges. Right behind me is our wood stack here. Carvers have been real generous since telling them I started this. I'm sure some of you have pieces of wood that you bought with good intentions years ago. I've had lots of friends nearby that say, hey, I've got this chunk of wood. Can you put it to use? And so we have that's probably what started the use of all the different types of wood that I have is I needed to do something with it. So it just keeps coming. This first sander here is a 1x30. That's where we do the rough grinding. This one over here is where I do the sharpening. This is the 2x28. And then the last machine there is just a buffer with the cotton wheels on it. This is my little shop.
And so you don't use jigs, everything's hand ground, everything's hand sharpened, no jigs at all?
Yep.
Perfect. Well, having said all that, thank you. Thanks for taking time out today to meet with us. Your tools are amazing, and I look forward to seeing what you do with the gouges. I'm interested in that, so I'm excited about where you're going with those. I want to remind you all next weekend I'll be at Mid-South. I can't talk today. Mid-South Woodcarving Show in Alabama with Tommy Thigpen. If you all know Tommy, be down there with her. So if you're in the area, make sure you come by, say hello. Check out the demonstration. I'll be doing that Friday, and then we'll be broadcasting live Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, Ashton, thank you for coming on. Thank you all for joining us today with the International Association of Woodcarvers. Thank you all.
Recording for a few minutes. I won't record after we get done for a few minutes, so I won't blackmail anybody with any humors of anything. But if Blake went over,
right, Dave. I don't believe that for a second.
Shh, I'm hiding all the stuff on you, Blake, till later. The secret files I keep.
I'm sure.
You can do it as many times as you want. I'll mute myself in a minute because there's a gang of hooligans in the background. Just hear them screaming and yelling. But I'll mute myself, but you can do as many takes as we need to do. If you didn't feel comfortable with the take, then we can redo it. When you get done with it, Blake usually will make fun of you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm usually the one that does that. Just remember the International Association of Woodcarvers, because that's what everybody usually tongue ties up on. So I'm gonna mute myself, keep you on recording, and it's all you, whatever you want to say.
And I've messed it up more times than my share. So if you mess it up, don't worry.
And we blame him every time. So
that's right. That's right.
All right, I'm shutting up.
She's a professional.
Let's do it again this time. Let's do it with some feeling and emotion. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, that was great.
Hush, Dave. Hush.
I'm just kidding. Y'all did a good job. Libby, your part was amazing. The conversation, the hand wave.
I'm here for emotional support. I'm really good at that.
You emotionally supported well right there.
That's why I keep Dave around. He's my emotional support.
I'm not an emotional support animal, no matter how much you say that. All right, let's see. Get here. Let's stop that.